Yo, what is good? What is good? Fancy, welcome back. How
Hey,
are we?
good
Matt,
to be
how are
back.
we?
What's going on?
Episode 42, week 15. I was just telling you guys literally right before we went live, like we're 4 weeks. That's it. That's all we got left of the regular season. Obviously having a lot of fun doing it, but we're definitely going to be missing the crap out of doing this every single week. At least talking football every week and actually having football to talk about, not
Right.
just like doing our fun games. But like every week, we like to start off with a little intro of having some fun things that I found on the old internet. And this week, the Giants versus Saints game, the current get-in price of the game. If you guys had to guess, what would you guess?
$12.
I want to go a little bit higher and say
Section 317, basically, to give you an example.
I want to say maybe like $22.
$2 would have gotten you into the game. And on top of that, it's $75 parking. So so $2 ticket, $75 parking. If you guys missed it, we will get into it. We did hit our podcast parlay back-to-back weeks. Shout out to us.
Nice.
But
Let's
Fancy,
go.
you had the Miami Dolphins. It came down to the absolute wire in that one. But it was a scoregami.
Oh, wow.
26-32 was the final, and it's the 1,089th unique final score in NFL history. So not only did we win you guys some money, we gave you guys a little scoregami.
That's got to be. Is that 3 or 4 this year?
I think it's like 4, maybe 5 this season,
Okay.
which is kind of crazy. And then, dude, Bills Rams. Not even like it's stats, but like seriously, I mean, who watched that game? Like that was wild to watch. 86 points total in that game. 902 total yards, 12 total touchdowns. That to me will be the most recent one. The one that we always talk about before, Fancy, is the Chiefs Rams. Like that'll be up there with them. I think that game
Oh, yeah.
was more. I think it was 51-54 or something like that. But
But I don't know about the Rams Chiefs. I'm pretty sure there was no turnovers in the Bills Rams game.
I mean, I don't.
To score that many games without like anybody giving you an opportunity. I mean, score that many points during a game. Yeah, it's like
not having
just
anything
back
handed
and
to you.
forth.
Yeah.
I mean, there was just no defense. With that game too, Josh Allen, 51.88 fantasy points. That game as from a quarterback in a single game. That's the most ever, and it says since at least 1950. No one was playing fantasy football in 1950. Okay, so it is the record. Okay, like
Yeah,
we're not
absolutely.
doing that. Okay,
But
but
that's probably when like official stats and stuff is probably
right,
when they say that.
exactly. In recent news, Deebo Samuel has been very vocal about he's not struggling at all. He just needs to get the ball. Was his exact tweet with the
You sure about that?
emote.
You sure about that?
The funny thing about that was the tweets on X literally got flagged to be incorrect. And it literally says he leaves the team in drops. He is not struggling. From Twitter. That literally
That was
came
the
as a
fact. That was
tag.
the fact check.
Yeah, it's the fact check that he literally leaves the team in drops and is like second on the team in targets. It's like that is a wild.
That's
Right.
incredible to be flagged on X when they don't flag anything else.
Like that's how you know you were that wrong. Like,
Yeah, it's like wow.
yeah. And then a fun one or two fun ones to end it on. Kind of a shout out to us here on the pod for our teams. 7 of the top 8 total offenses are all in the NFC. 7. The only AFC team, Baltimore Ravens. In the top 8. That's crazy to think about. Crazy to think about.
Especially when you think about them being 8-5.
Yeah.
Like
and like how are the Bengals not up there?
Yeah, they're number 1 in so many stats. That's
kind of crazy. And then to shift away a little bit, outside of football, we do talk other sports a little bit, and unless it's got to be a kind of breaking news type of deal. But Juan Soto, 15 years, 765 million. To put that into perspective for you guys, LeBron James and Tom Brady, their combined salary earnings in their careers, 2 of the best to play in the NFL and in the NBA, 761. Juan Soto will pass that in 15 years as one individual.
See, we talked about that earlier about when I was talking to you about the hockey contracts and stuff like that. where they're just getting these, huge huge deals for them, right? And it's all over all these extended years, but not getting paid at all.
Yeah.
And then you now 15 years at that price, like that is absolutely insane.
He's gonna be 41 when his last year gets paid off, I believe it said. And I mean, from like, it's not even me hating the guy because I mean I used to be a big fan of him with the Nationals, but I, I mean his stats were nothing like Shohei Ohtani didn't get that. You know what I mean? And it's like he plays both sides of the ball. It's like so I don't know how that. I mean, not to get into it, but I'm just like that is a crazy stat when I see that LeBron James and Tom Brady made less than him. Like it's just
baseball money is just the only thing close for us in America to understand how soccer money is.
Yeah. Literally, yeah. Literally, like how global that I mean, how crazy the
Yeah.
contracts get. It's
Yeah.
it's
Yep.
wild. Last week, Matt, we had 9 consensus picks. Man, we came close to that 9-0.
We
The
should've.
Jags
Yeah,
beat
we
the Jags
should've.
beat the Titans, so the Jags did let us down. We told everyone in advance. Me, you, and Marcus told everyone in advance.
Stay away.
Do not touch the Jags Titan games because that game is going to be a weird game, and that's exactly what it was. Will Levis got hurt. It was just a weird game. And then the other one we just talked about, Bills Rams. Rams did defeat the Bills there. So those are the 2 losses we had. So we went 7-2, which puts us at a season record of 102-42, which I think, Matt, you had the math on the percentage of what that was.
So I mean, it bumped us up a couple, but yeah, it's 70% still, but 70.8.
70.8%. So almost 71% accuracy, throughout the season of me, Fancy, and Matt picking the same teams. This week we have 12 consensus picks. So we'll dive into our picks here. But before we do that, I want to get into the playoff picture real quick. This is what it looks like after week 14. So this is the part of the season where we have this graphic up every single week, and every single week it changes. But before we dive into it, I just want to point out the teams that are eliminated from the NFL playoff picture. The Cleveland Browns, the Jacksonville Jaguars, the New England Patriots, New York Jets, Tennessee Titans, Las Vegas Raiders, and the New York Giants are all out. Somehow the Panthers and the Bears are still in. I don't know how that works, but it's some probably weird thing that if they win and this team loses and this team loses and this team wins, and you know how all that works. 4 teams have technically clinched playoffs. The Lions, Eagles, obviously did. And then there's 2 division clinches, which are the Bills and the Chiefs, which basically means they won their AFC West and the AFC East. So congratulations, Matt. Me and you are in the playoffs. Fancy, I'm sure you will be right behind us here very shortly. But go ahead.
Oh, see, I'm just excited about this because as it currently lies,
it looks
the Packers will get one more chance. Because I feel we beat the Seahawks. We beat them this week. We beat them there. And then we get one more shot at the Lions for a little bit of redemption of some great games.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, this is the first time he's kind of spoken after like a,
Yeah.
Now that it's,
Yeah, it's like it matters. And it is remnants of 2010. We had to play the Bears 3 times. We played them, and we had to play them. And
I think it was NFC Championship though, wasn't it?
It was the NFC Championship. That's the way it fell when we had to play the Bears, and coming in as the underdog that whole playoff run, and who else was in it? The Steelers on the AFC side. So we have a little,
which I really don't like that. Like, shout out to the NFL. Not that they probably care that we're using this anyway, but I really don't like that they don't include the Pittsburgh Steelers like the logo. Because they just use the yellow
wrong
stripe one, but you
side.
can't
It's the wrong
see
side.
it. So it's like you just have a black helmet, which obviously that is the Steelers because they lead the AFC East. I'm sorry, but it's like it's just weird. But as of right now, the Chiefs and Lions would be number 1 seeds. The teams that are kind of creeping up on that number 1 seed, at least on the NFC side, the Eagles and the Vikings, they're kind of right behind you guys. And then I think you still have to play them twice, don't you, Matt? Or did you guys already play Minnesota once?
Yeah, we already played them once.
Okay, so yeah, I mean that could be a big game then of them trying to get their game back against you guys. But lots of possible division matchups here. I mean, Eagles playing the Commanders, like you said, Fancy. You guys beat Seattle in this picture. Then you guys go play. Then you guys would go play the Lions as long as the Eagles get their job done. But I mean, just still, imagine seeing Baker and Sam Darnold and the Vikings, who no one thought they'd be this good. It's like, so it'll change up. It probably will not be this, but because it even shows you like in the hunt, the Rams, Falcons, Cardinals, 49ers, they're all still there. The AFC side, the Colts, the Dolphins, and the Bengals. So there's still hope for us. We said the Dolphins would win the division. Obviously, they cannot. The Bills did clinch it, so that we're already wrong. But they're still up there. It's cool to see the Broncos up there. It's cool to see the Steelers and the Chargers up there. Like, it really is cool to see some newer teams that we did not see up there last year.
Yeah, absolutely.
So cool to see them. And I mean, I love that the Bengals are still technically in the hunt. It'd be a rough. A lot of things have to go in their way for it to actually happen.
It's damn near impossible, but
yes,
there's a chance.
We've seen it happen. It's just
for the Colts to be the better chance than either one of those teams when both of those quarterbacks dance circles around both of the Colts quarterbacks combined. It's just like, wow.
Yep. I saw a stat that Joe Burrow leads every single quarterback passing stat, and Jamar Chase leads the league in every single receiving stat, and they're both obviously not going to be in the playoffs. So very interesting to see how that can even be an actual stat or thing. It's mind-boggling when you really think about it. But to get us into the weekly matchups, this week I went 10-3, so I was at the top, which ties me with Matt. I've told you, Matt, I'm catching up, man. I'm getting up there
every week, every week,
just one. You know what I mean? If you could just give me 1 inch, one game. But no, Matt, you went 9-4. Fancy, you went 8-5. So not a bad. We haven't had a bad week pretty much since like week 3, week 4. I feel like. But puts me at 137-71. Same with you, Matt. And then Fancy, you were at 131-77. So Fancy, you'd have to go probably on like an absolute tear.
I did try to break out of the normal last week and this week because I knew I had to make up some ground. Yeah. And last week kind of got me, so I really got to try to make up some ground.
And you never know, dude. When it gets to the end of the year, tricky things happen, man. Guys trying to win a job, guys trying to get like maybe a contract extension, just like on a crappy team. But as long as they get a job, they don't care.
Yeah.
I
think this is Thursday night is where I think decides her record for this year or for this week, probably, right? So.
Oh gosh, yes.
Probably, yeah. Thursday night football. I feel like this one is probably the most talked about on this slide. I think the other matchups are kind of a landslide in most of our opinions. But Rams at San Francisco, a huge game for both teams. Obviously, you and Fancy went with the Rams. I thought maybe I'd have one of you guys. I thought when I looked at this matchup, I'm like, someone's going to go on the other side. Like someone, whether it's the 49ers side or the Rams side or whatever. Obviously, I fell on the 49ers side and you guys didn't. But I guess I'll let you guys go first on what you guys see in this Rams 49ers matchup.
Be my guest, Matt.
Yeah, we saw a lot
team, so
right. We saw a lot out of them last week. Like that's to play the Bills that well, like that was impressive. So I think I'm kind of riding that high into this week of maybe a banged up 49ers team. I think that gives them the edge here. Obviously with McCaffrey going down before that, you've got the young kid stepping in and doing well, but now he's banged up with the sprained ankle on a short week. If they have to now plug and play their fifth, it's got to be their fifth
like
running
back
back.
Taylor or something like that.
That's going to be tough. So I'm on a short week after a great game out of the Rams. I think they just come out firing on all cylinders again. I loved what Puka was able to do last week. Stafford, obviously, have all the trust in him. That connection just looks great. And then, I think you picked him in your flex spots in our DK lineup. Kyren Williams, still every week looking amazing. So for those reasons, I decided on the short week to stick with the Rams.
Yeah. I just saw Sean McVay's play calling that reminded me of Super Bowl Rams. And I was just like, there we go. That's the team is playing together, and then the coaches are complimenting the players with explosive plays. That 42-44, and there was never a lead change. That's another crazy stat about that game. It's like, wow, good job.
Yeah, that is great. I did not know that is a wild. No, I love everything you guys said. I'm a huge fan of Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua and Sean McVay and all that. I think between the injuries, they've had throughout the year, they have been one of those teams that have been inconsistent, like the Seahawks, like the Cardinals. Like, if the team shows up, I would take them to beat most teams in the entire league, and that was the team that showed up against the Bills. Was a team that came out, and I think it caught the Bills kind of on their heels a little bit of like, oh shit, this team is like swinging, like, and you know what I mean.
Yep.
And they caught up with
Yeah.
them, and I mean, you could argue people are like, oh man, could you imagine Josh Allen having that crazy of a game and he lost? It's like, have you heard of Joe Burrow? Like, it's like because it's like
Exactly.
that is his season. You know what I mean?
Oh
And
yeah.
so that was that game, and it's like not even discrediting that whatsoever. The thing that stuck out for me, because Brock Purdy's been getting a lot of hate this year, system quarterback, whatever else, all this other stuff. We talked about in pre-production, me debating Sam Darnold, Jordan Love this week. Sam Darnold playing the number one defense against the pass in the Bears. Well, Brock Purdy against the Bears, 20 for 25, 325 passing yards, 2 touchdowns. I mean, that's, you know what I mean? That's without Brandon Ayuk. That's without Christian McCaffrey. That's without their left tackle, Trent Williams. It's like, that's an impressive stat line against a phenomenal passing defense. So I think he just went in and got things done. I think that might be, if the 49ers are going to have a turning point. They're already having the downside season that Fancy, predicted early on in the year, but for them to go 10-7, for them to go 9-8 and sneak into a playoff game, that was the one game. Yes, it's the Bears, but that was the game where, looking at it, I mean, what was the score? 38-13. I mean, that's the game where they were like, we still are us. We lost the identity a little bit, but we're here. You know what I mean? Like, and now they're at home. The fans are pumped up. They're still in the playoff hunt. This is a huge. I mean, the NFC West is still wide open, right? If Seattle loses to the Packers this week and then they beat them, I mean, everyone's, I think, 7-7 again, or I think maybe the Seahawks might be.
It's
one more
close,
game.
yeah.
Yeah, but either way, they're a game out, right? And so if they drop this game, that probably that's the end of their playoff chances, in my opinion. So yes,
So
they are banged up.
against the wall.
You are 100% correct. They are banged up, whatever else. But if the 49ers come out like they did last week, that Rams defense will get torched just like they did, against the Bills, even though they did come up on top. But how many weeks have we seen the Rams put up 40 points, 40 plus points this season? And it hasn't been a lot. So
yeah, you still have
it
still
could be
have
a shootout.
Kittle.
It could be, I mean, that over 40, and that's why it's 49, right? So
I mean,
you still have Kittle,
that
and
was
you still have Juwan Jennings. So yeah, 49ers will be all
Kittle's
right.
game last week was the prime example.
And I
of
think,
like, there he is.
and I think like Isaac Rendell, he looked great. But don't get me wrong. I mean, look how many running backs. I mean, Christian McCaffrey, Jordan Mason, Elijah Mitchell, Isaac Rendell. Every single one of them looked like a top 5 running back in fantasy, right? So it's like this guy. If I think his name is Patrick Taylor, it might not be Patrick Taylor. I might be totally wrong. It's something Taylor, P. Taylor. But like, even if he does have to go in, Isaac Rendell can't play because that high ankle sprain. I mean, I just don't have to worry about the run game. You know what I mean? It's no matter who's been plugged into that system, they're a top 5 running back, right? So it's kind of it, and it's a hats off to Shanahan, because it's unbelievable to do over the course of how many years now. So, but I agree with you guys. I can see totally your side. I my thing went with the home team, and just backs against the walls. I mean, they lose, they're done, and if they win, they have a chance. So it's like I like the hungry dog in that race. And then we have the Chiefs Browns. I'm glad to see we're all back on the Chiefs. I cried a little bit last week, but I made it through. And
Listen,
the Chiefs did win. They had some weird shit going on again, but we
were basically correct in picking the Chargers. Just somehow again, the Chiefs. This is an amazing season for them, because they do not look good, but they're winning games. So
yeah, I mean,
whatever it takes.
Marcus kind of nailed it too when he mentioned the Pittsburgh Steelers. I forget which year. Obviously, he's the AFC East guy, so he kind of, or not AFC East. I'm sorry, AFC North guy. So he kind of, can, understand the years a little bit better than we can.
He's got the history on it better.
But he mentioned the 13-3 Steelers with Big Ben, and how they just every week they won by like a block kick and a hit field goal post, and I mean, scrapped and clawed, and it's like that is part of the game. But they were a first round exit. It's like that team reminds him of that. And since he said that, it's like last weekend I was watching that Chargers game, I saw it. I mean, I saw exactly what he was talking about. Of just like, this team has no identity besides Mahomes and Andy Reid. Like that is the team. And so They're 12-1. I mean, I saw a thing if you take the 1-point score games and you flip them, the games that you won by a 1-score game, you flip them to losses, they would be like 2-10. So
Yeah.
that's kind of crazy to be
Yeah.
put in that situation. Like I think for example, the Lions would still be like 9-5 or something like that. So like
Mhm.
to give you an example, most good teams would still be in a position where they would be winning those 1-score games.
And I'm trying to find. I was just trying to look up the stat. Maybe I'll dive deeper into it. It reminded me of, was it Cousins either last year or the year before, would have all those comeback wins or like those field goal to win it type wins, where his point differential was like basically
Yeah,
non-existent.
it was like last year or maybe it was before his injury. It was like
Yes, so 2 years ago. Yep.
Yeah, 2 years ago. Yes, absolutely. That was they scored like how many points and then they also let up that many points. It was something weird. Like
Yeah. So to me, that's what it kind of reminds me of is somehow, yeah, they're winning
it
those
just
games,
went, yeah.
but it's just at the end of the game, like you see a kick at the end of the game, goes off the upright, and that's how they win it. Like that's
Yeah.
insane.
You're gonna
What-
run out of that. You're gonna run out of that luck in playoffs. You know what I mean?
What
Like,
what gives me faith about KC is that when it comes to the playoffs and winning Super Bowls, is their defense is still keeping
yes,
keeping it low.
the defense has been the
Because-
best defense they've had in
so-
a long time.
Right. And so it's like it's a lot easier to get your offense changed up than it is to get your defense locked in.
Yeah. And we saw that
And
last
so-
year. They really took off in playoffs. All of a sudden, it was like
Right,
this team's
right.
humming now. You know? It's like-
So exactly, like these close wins and the loss that they've had, it's like wow, I mean, one, Jameis Winston somehow rallies these people, which almost made me want to pick the Browns because I'm just
I
like,
thought
this,
maybe someone would just because of that.
this is the way. Though the Panthers have a close one. Panthers have a close one with the Eagles. Panthers magically, when they could get a good first round pick, Bryce Young says, "No, I'm still going to be the quarterback. You're not picking a new guy.
We're
going
not
to
drafting Shador Sanders.
Yeah, yeah. He's
I
like,
like my
no
job.
Shador, no Travis Hunter, none of this crap. Like we're gonna be like 6th pick, and like you said, the Eagles' arc comes in the playoffs, and so it's like let me get there because they play to their opponent, and so once they start playing again, and I mean I'm not worried about them against the Ravens because I'm almost as worried about the Ravens as I am the Chiefs. And it's just like, I think this is a week for the Chiefs to probably try something out, which I wouldn't be surprised if that's what they would have been doing, is searching, because they're like, we have this. We're just going to throw something out there.
We need to
And
click first. Yeah.
yeah, we're on page 7 and 8 of our playbook just to try to,
Just keep
Get
throwing it to Noah Gray instead of Kelsey, apparently.
Yeah, exactly.
and Worthy. Give it to Worthy because I picked him this week.
Yeah. There you go. And then we took the Bengals over the Titans, and then we took the Commanders over the Saints. Not really a lot to talk about in those ones. Obviously, just taking the heavily favored team that should not drop this game, especially if the Bengals. I mean, they got to pretty much win out and keep their fingers crossed in that one. So yeah, I mean, especially with the Saints really not having a quarterback at the moment. And then the Ravens over the Giants. Really, I mean, I think we just looked at it. This graphic was made last night, so Tuesday night. We're recording this Wednesday night. It gets uploaded Thursday to give you an idea of the production. The line was at minus 14.5. When we looked and we were making our parlay before the production or before the pod, it was minus 16. So I think that's just all we need to say about that in that game. Is the books are even telling you it is not even going to be worth talking about. The last minus 950. The last minus 950 we saw was the Eagles versus the Panthers last week.
Well, I thought you said it moved to 11. It's 1100 now too.
Oh yeah, it is. Yep.
So even worse. I mean, because
that is true. Yeah,
because the Giants. I mean, not that they even have a chance. Giants would be stupid to try to win any more games.
I think I saw a stat. I could be wrong. I think Drew Lock started off last week 0-12.
My problem is that the Ravens have lost to the Raiders.
Yeah.
And those are equivalent teams in my eyes.
I mean, yeah, they're both 2-11. You're not wrong at all.
So it's just like, gosh, as much as we can see the Chiefs dropping this game to the Browns on probably the most bizarre football game we might see for the season, it's like I wouldn't be as surprised if it happened here either. I'm still going Ravens.
Derrick Henry scores 3 touchdowns in the first
I hope
half.
not. I go against him in a $350 league. So let's.
All right, sorry.
Like Zay Flowers or Justice Hill or something.
I don't want to put
Flowers too. Yes, Zay Flowers. Actually, fancy. Can you switch your pick to the Giants? Can we have Drew Lock go for 5 touchdowns?
All right. How about Mark Andrews? I put him in my.
Yeah, that's fine.
I put
That's
him in
fine.
my flex
That's
spot.
fine.
Double
Oh,
tight end.
Jesus.
Yeah, that one's gonna be a weird one. Another weird one's probably gonna be this Jets-Jags game. We all took the Jets. It's just gonna be a really weird. I don't know. We eyed the -3 and we eyed the -166 for the parlay, and we were just like, let's just not. It's like we talk about fancy. It's like trusting that fart on the way home. It's like let's just wait till we get home. It's like because you know it's gonna be bad. It's like
Yeah. I feel like when I look at the Jets and you look at their roster, it's like having a lot of money and you giving it to a bad financial advisor that's just not. It's like why are you doing it so bad? Like I don't know, it's so
you go in there,
crazy.
you have no money left, but he's got a brand new Rolex. It's like,
Right. I'm just like where is this going? Why is this just dwindling away right in front of my eyes? And I mean, this is the first time I've ever really felt. I mean, it's been 14 years since the Jets have had, I think, a playoff berth or
I
something
think
like that.
15. Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, it's nothing new. It's just funny how much hope they had. Shout out the Cowboys. It's like one of those like, why did you even really think that?
Yeah, that is fair. I mean, but it's just like, dude, I'm not gonna go in the rabbit hole of it, but it's like top 5 defense, Aaron Rodgers, Garrett Wilson, Brees Hall, Devontae Adams. It's like, my goodness. It's
Yeah.
like,
I
you know
just
what I mean?
I feel like we got 5 different playbooks for those guys. I feel like the O line still is questionable.
I feel like when the play call comes in, it's in a different language, and then when Rodgers speaks it, he's speaking a different language, and then they're all running out there like, "What are we doing?" And then it sometimes works, and it sometimes doesn't. It's like sometimes
Yeah.
maybe good,
Yeah,
sometimes
yeah.
maybe shit.
It's
like,
the amount of like misunderstanding that just
yeah,
appears on the field. It's like
yeah.
that's
No,
the only way. And no, sorry, go ahead, Matt.
I was gonna say, I think what he's doing is he's implementing like some kind of microdosing, something in their water, trying to get them to
He's
bring
getting
them
rid of
over.
the fluoride.
He's trying to like brainwave them.
Yeah, and it's for some reason it's just they're not getting on that same page, even though he's mellowing
QB
them
room
out
is
a
just
little bit.
fucking a smoke show in there. They're walking.
Yeah,
Luckily enough, they're not in what was it, New Jersey, right?
Yeah.
Where they have all the drones flying over. So maybe there will be less interference and the brainwaves will pass through.
There you go.
Yeah.
The Jets.
So
Take the Jets with the Jags.
take the Jets.
And then, man, probably the most controversial one. Panthers, Cowboys.
Wow.
I didn't think
Cowboys fan, huh?
I just didn't think we were ever going to pick the Panthers this entire season, but evidently we are. Like,
No, my take on that was a couple weeks in a row where they're looking like a football team. They don't want the number 1 spot because they gave it up to Chicago last year already. So I think they're trying to win a couple games.
They look great. Cowboys. I mean, the way the Cowboys lost last week is just like, oh yeah, like it's like even when you snatch defeat from the jaws of victory somehow, and so I mean, for Mike McCarthy's sake, please win this. But I just like the
I think-
Panthers are
I
gonna
mean, like,
do
even
something.
last
love
week,
Cooper Rush.
They
You
beat
love
the
Cooper
Bengals
Rush,
Monday
right?
night. They beat the Bengals Monday night. They absolutely do.
Thielen drops that pass. The Panthers beat the Eagles.
Xavier Legette drops the pass.
I mean, look, I'm sorry, and it's just like that's my point though. Is it's like you talk about one play.
well, yeah. I mean, I'm just saying, like,
That's
the Cowboys
the
been very
equal argument.
The Cowboys been very like vocal about like they're not tanking the season. So like they're trying to win every single week. To me, it's like if I'm the Panthers, it's like, yeah, that's great. Bryce Young's playing great, but let's not win any more games. Like let's keep it close, but don't win.
That'd be the smart thing to do.
Yeah, like let's keep it close. Let's make sure you're getting your reads and your progressions and you're looking better each week. That's great. And it's like, but let's not win. And I think that's gonna be good. And the Cowboys are gonna be dumb enough to like, oh hey, we can win. It's like, congratulations. Now you have the 18th overall pick. It's like,
Yeah.
it's like
I mean,
great. Like,
yeah, I mean,
and
you're
they
right.
still will draft great. The Cowboys do great in drafts. They really do. But yeah, I mean, in this one, it's just that's how I view it. It's just like the Cowboys still are trying to win. It's a win-win for me. I mean, yeah, I guess if the Panthers do win this, I probably slip up, especially if the 49ers lose Thursday Night Football too. I will slip up on the thing. But the way I view it is like if the Cowboys lose to the Panthers, they lost to the Panthers. It's like that is fucking hilarious. Like,
Oh yeah.
but at the same time, it's not even that big of a jab because the Panthers have been playing good football. Like if the Eagles lost, it's like we
True.
came out flat-footed, looked like crap. It's like they almost beat the Chiefs too. It's like I mean, they're playing good. The NFL is that's what Marcus was
Sure.
texting me, messing around with me, but I'm like, it's the NFL, dude. Like these guys want their jobs. Like
They're all pros.
they're the best in the world.
They're the
It's
top
like,
1% of the 1%. You know,
it's like
Yeah.
there's coaching issues. There's all these issues. It's like when you clearly when you get them all together, this could have the Panthers if they played like this in the beginning of the season, they could be a fucking 6-7 team right now.
I
Like,
mean,
isn't
the
that crazy?
Panthers were in a Super Bowls before. I mean, since the Packers or the Lions.
Can you imagine them having a 1-2 punch with Jonathan Brooks if he would have
That's what I mean.
actually
What a-
came out of it?
What a rough.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, prayers out for Jonathan Brooks, man. I mean,
I was hoping for him.
He battles a year recovery, comes back, plays one game, and now he's out for the entire next season too. It's like, fuck, man.
Yeah.
Everyone's like, he's done, his season's over, and all I said was like, look, man, look at J.K. Dobbins. Like, just got to keep that in mind of like he did it. You know what I mean? It's like it is possible, even if it's a fresh start somewhere else. I mean, J.K.
And
Dobbins looked great this year, so
Medicine's
hopefully-
getting a whole lot better.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
the
you just
recovery's
don't want to
better.
be the injury prone guy before you even basically start in the league, essentially. So that's the tough spot he's
Yeah,
in.
lots of Jonathan Brooks fancy owners that stashed him for a long time. Not very happy either. Not that matters, but and then we have the Dolphins Texans. I'm finally like on the safe side, so that feels good. It's like I'm back home with mom. So Matt, I'll just let. I mean, I feel like I've just been defending myself this whole time. So like, I'll let you go. That way, I can just like feel comfort. It's like okay, yeah, like that's what he thinks too. Like, so.
Yeah, I mean, Dolphins. That was a scary game. I know we had him in our parlay. I love everything. Spoiler alert for my DK. I've actually got a stack in that game for Miami. I think the offense still plays well. 47 over under is still a pretty high number here. So it's not that I'm too down on the Dolphins, other than it was a scary ending to that game. I think the Texans, they're kind of in a spot here where they got to keep winning some games towards the back half of the year because they've been this mid part of the season they've looked kind of shaky. I think coming out of a bye,
I think it was, yeah.
they had a late bye, so I'm thinking they step it up this week against that Miami team that looked a little wishy-washy.
Yeah, I think the bye couldn't have come at a better time for them. Their defense was getting shaky. Their offense was getting beat up. CJ Stroud has been struggling. I think like that's one thing that's not been talked about is CJ Stroud's second year has not been a good year.
Yep.
And it's tough. They always talk about like this sophomore drought. You know what I mean? They always talk about like that second year team starting to figure you out a little bit. They give you some tougher looks. He looked lost against Minnesota early on in the season.
Yep.
So it's like he's still gonna be a great quarterback going forward. It's a huge game for the Dolphins. But I think it's just as big as a game for the Texans too. I mean, we talk about the Colts just still in that hunt. So the Texans need to keep getting back on board, and this could end up being a shootout. I mean, it really could be. This is two offenses that really can really put up some points. So
Yeah, what I see with the Dolphins is I started thinking about Mike McDaniels, who probably feels a little pressure too.
that seat
And
got a little warm.
yeah, absolutely. And so I think, we're talking, he's pulling out, some shit he wrote on an IHOP napkin, getting breakfast at 3 a.m. And he's like, well, maybe this isn't that crazy. And as the Texans have slumped mid to late season, Tua has found his way. It looks like the Dolphins are coming together. And now, granted, they have a bad record against winning teams, but they have a good record in enclosed and warm environments.
Yeah.
So it's like as the rise continues for the Dolphins, it seems like the Texans are just grasping at straws to try to put something together. And so we're kind of seeing that on the graph. You see one coming up and it's like this is where they meet as the other one's on its way down. And I'm not saying that it's going to be a blowout by any means. It could be another close one. And the Dolphins got to have it.
Yeah.
I mean, they both got to have it, but it's like I leaned on the talent.
Going into last week, I talked about the Tua. Like since Tua's been back, I don't think he's thrown in a single interception. And he's like, I think last week, like it was like 4 games, 12 touchdowns, and like 1,300. It was like something crazy, like a stat. So it's like Tua's been playing lights out. It hasn't been in ways that you thought with like Tyreek didn't get involved a lot last week. and so did Jalen Waddle, but it was nowhere near like the last 4 or 5 games that they've had. You would think it's been this explosive Tyreek Hill show, and it hasn't been, but they're still been effective. And so it's like just like we talked about, like with other teams, winning, like when the Vikings beat the Bears and they didn't get Justin Jefferson involved. It's like if the Dolphins are winning without getting Tyreek Hill involved,
Yeah.
it's like
Unlock that last element,
just,
and then
just
what happens?
wait. Yeah, just wait until it does. And so the Dolphins are playing great football. I think, Matt, for me and you, speaking on our behalf, it's one of those things where we're hoping that Texans hit that reset button and D'Amico Ryan kind of, shook up that locker room a little bit and got the changes need to be, hey, like this is what's going wrong. This is the hole that and it's great to find those holes at the end of the season right before you're going into playoffs, because that's the best time to make the adjustment, right? There's still plenty of time to make those adjustments going forward. I think, at home, I think that's where you see them, make them and make those adjustments and get it done. So, and then the Broncos, we got the Broncos Colts. We're all consensus on this page. So we'll go diagonal. Broncos Colts. We all took the Broncos. Bo Nix looks awesome.
At home.
At home. I don't know if the Colts know how to play in football. Real football weather. Shout out Steelers. Shout out Philly. Shout out Packers. Shout out.
Kind of Detroit.
No, Detroit's indoors.
Well, they do pretty good on the road. They do pretty good on the road.
Not real football. And then we all took the Cardinals with the Patriots. Fun stat: Marvin Harrison doesn't have a drop since week 1. Kind of cool. So
that's a hot stat. Wow.
Yeah, hasn't a drop since week 1.
Does he have a touchdown since then too?
I think so.
He has one.
Hey, it's one of those things. I think it's just one of those underrated rookie seasons where like we definitely like he came into the league and we have him here. You know what I mean?
Yes, that's the
not
difference.
Fair because everyone else is down here, and it's like, oh, they're doing so great, and it's like we have him so high up, and it's like he's still like here, and it's just like,
very true.
We still have to like give him that credit because it's like no drops since week 1 and that's the week 1 jitters. I mean, you can't tell me that's like
first
game. I have to live up to my dad. I have to live up to Larry Fitzgerald. I have to, you know what I mean? It's like,
and then you're also catching passes from a quarterback that played at Oklahoma, a Heisman Trophy winner. Like the pressure that is on you, but also it's like these baby birds. Like not everyone just bursts out of the shell. You just watch it crack slowly, and then now you see all these cracks.
The majestic take by Fancy,
and that shell is about to just shatter.
Is it
next year?
Like
in the off season,
that shell's just about to crack. Is it next year?
It's almost there. It's just. We're just slowly just battering that shell.
You're checking
a little more incubation.
You're checking on it every single day. You just don't know. It's like
but when he comes out of that shell, he's flying out that nest.
Oh yeah, I like
because they're birds.
Are they?
They're Cardinals.
So obviously we all took the Cardinals in that one over the Patriots. But the two matchups probably of the week. Very disappointed that these are not like Sunday Night Football or Monday Night Football, especially since there's 2 Monday Night Football games this week that are garbage.
These are potential Super Bowl matchups.
Correct.
That's exciting.
Correct. Yeah. Could you imagine a Super Bowl matchup though of the state of Pennsylvania?
It'd be like the Super Bowl matchup of Texas. No one would watch it.
I think Pennsylvania would burn down. I really do. But
probably
fuck you. Anyways, Lions Bills. This one's got Matt all a little nervous. I can see.
I had it circled. I had it circled on the calendar. You get to this point. This is the matchup that you need to. You need to win, right? This is the team that we were looking forward to. I like our chances here. I really think this is going to be a really good game. 49.5. Maybe it's probably higher by now. You know what I mean? Like, so what we saw out of the Rams Bills game, we might get 2.0 here. We might get just, haymaker after haymaker, touchdown after touchdown, no punts, no turnovers. You know what I mean? It might.
Oh gosh.
It might be a crazy game.
Every fourth down's going for it. Like Josh Allen, it's just like
that's almost the only way you can play against
either one of the teams.
I mean, but the what defense do the Bills have if you're really going to compare them to the Lions defense? If I was Matt, I wouldn't be sweating it at all. I'd bet the house.
Appreciate
that makes him more nervous.
No, I like the chances of our secondary getting those picks. You know,
Kirby
I
Joseph.
think I think that's going to be the turning point in this game. If there is a turning point, I think it's when we get that pick late in the game. Kirby Joseph, Davis, maybe Terran Arnold will step up there and kind of solidify his rookie season of getting a pick right here in a game like this. That would be amazing. I think that, to me, that's the type of game this needs to be, is that turnover late in the game. If it favors the Lions, then they can edge out the win.
Speaking of Terry Arnold, shout out to the Eagles for drafting Kenyon Mitchell. Currently number 1 odds to win rookie or defensive rookie of the year, and then also Cooper DeJean, who they took.
Oh,
Who's
DeJean,
who's number 3 in
Yeah.
defensive rookie of the year. Number 2, Jared Verse.
That tackle on Derrick Henry was.
Yeah. So shout out the Eagles for getting the right corner in that draft. No offense, but could you imagine the Lions with Kenyon Mitchell? How good he is. He's a pure number 1. Like he's pure.
Well, what's interesting though that you say that, like I think everything we talked about, everything that everybody was signaling was it was the other Alabama. It was Kool-Aid is who the Lions were thinking, kind of in position to get. And so I think out of that, they made the right decision, obviously.
Yeah.
But you're right. Yeah.
Eagles, I mean, they took what they had. I mean, the Eagles took it before the Lions could get it. So it's like everyone thought we were going to go Terry Arnold though. And then they went Kenyon Mitchell and everyone was like, wait, what? And then it was like,
right.
I remember doing the pod of it. Like we both got good corners, but I love Kenyon Mitchell, man. Like they call him what is it, Quinamino Bay or something like that, like the island, because he's on an island by himself. I love that. Like he came with a sweatshirt with it too. It's so sick. Leading into the Eagles, I think what's interesting about the Bills Lions is like we look at that and we just think offense, and then you go down to the bottom left and it's Steelers Eagles,
Defense,
and it's like there is offense, but it might be like a 10-7. Like
I'm picking like 21-18.
Yeah, I mean even now it's like it's gonna be it's gonna be gritty. It's gonna be Barkley and lots of Najee Harris. Like it's gonna be like back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. It's like
we might get another like 5-6 field goal out of Boswell.
Yeah, and I'm playing against him this week, so that guy has him, Henry, it was Zayflower. It's like every single thing I'm looking at. I'm like, this is not great.
So every take that I'm predicting is against
my $350 league, the only league I care about winning.
Sorry.
It's okay.
Yeah.
No, I've already told myself it. It's like everything you're telling me. You can't hurt me, Matt, because I've told myself everything you're saying. Like,
you already know it.
It's like I speak these insecurities into the mirror. It's like
staring in the
all
mirror.
Seriousness, I mean, we're favored in this game against a 10-3 team, -238. You know what I mean? I think -5 is a little rough. I do think it could come down to a field goal.
That's the best odds on the page, which is pretty crazy.
Yeah, and I mean, it's like I don't like being favored by that much, but I think it is that Philly. Like it's gonna be interesting, man. The Steelers fans, they travel good, and so do the Eagles fans. So it's like at home, they're not gonna want any black and yellow being there. And it's just gonna be, man, it's gonna be a fun one to watch, I think. And I really do wish this one was Sunday Night Football, and maybe the Bills Lions was like Monday Night Football or something.
Yeah, give me both. Yeah,
but I wouldn't want both on Monday night though, because
no. I'm saying like give me those. Like that's what I mean.
Just double prime time and different.
And so I want to watch both, and I won't be able to watch both. Not like focusing because I'm going to pick the Eagles over watching yours, Matt. But I would like to watch that game. But I just think it's one of those things where Barkley's still going to put up 100+. He absolutely will. And I think that's just.
And then Hurts he'll get him to the 1, and then Hurts will drive his way in.
Took 11 touchdowns away this season so far.
And take that touchdown away and
on the 1 yard line.
I'm fine with that.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Think about the MVP season he could be having if they just gave it to him on the 1 yard line.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. He's already in the hunt, right? But yeah, he'd be solidified if he gets half of those touchdowns.
Yeah.
So that's tough. But the other thing in the news is how do you feel about AJ Brown?
The last time they did
a little crybaby.
Actually, a fun thing about that, the last time that they like had that was last season. They played the Pittsburgh Steelers, and AJ Brown caught 3 touchdowns. It was going into the Steelers week, and it happened, and then he caught 3 touchdowns. I think it's one of those things, man. He's competitive, but like I mean, even Amon-Ra St. Brown's a diva. When he doesn't get the football, he whines. Like, you know what I mean? It's one of those things where I think sometimes that you can be so. I don't like it, but I think you can be so close with someone. There's more frustration of just like, dude, like we've talked about this. Like, you know what I mean? Like, give me the, you know what I mean? It's just like
Yeah.
there's more frustration because you're close with them, and it's just like I'm not worried about it. It's just like, you know what I mean? It's
That's
one of those
fair.
things where do I think he should keep it to himself? Absolutely. He's also 25 years old. You know what I mean? It's like, it's like that's what we
Yeah.
forget. It's like they're kids. They do look like grown ass adults, but it's like he's still 24, 25 years old. It's like
And the culture is like you're the best. Like you got to teach these guys like a lot of that stuff that's
yeah.
hard to navigate. Definitely.
When you're competitive, man. I mean, they talk about the targets list, right? It's like his targets are down. It's like, well, our running back is also getting 8 more carries a game than they ever had the last 3 years. It's like we have Saquon Barkley now. That's going to be like a lot of your catches now are going to be run plays. It's like
And they're better yards per carry.
we're winning.
On
That's
top
all
of
that
that
matters. If
too,
we're
so-
losing, absolutely, you need to change something up. But we're winning the game, and it's not through you. Sorry, like
Yeah.
Do you want a ring? Do you want a ring, or
The
do you want
difference-
the football? Like
The difference is he's still gonna, just like he has this year, he's still gonna come up clutch when he needs the ball. If the game does have to be on the line and they need to throw it, he'll
obviously
get it.
I watched the game live. Obviously, the one play that they had, I wish I could show it. The one play, I mean, he was wide open in the end zone. Like, I mean, wide open. Like it was a slant.
Gotcha,
They did one of those slant block things where like it was close enough to where it wasn't like a legal contact because it was off like 5 yards, whatever. But like they like swapped and it hit someone and he was standing in the end zone wide open like right here. And then Hurts threw it to Devontae Smith, who was kind of in like a one-on-one situation, and he came down and caught a touchdown, but he was still upset. I was just like, why did that ball not go to me? I was wide open. But like it's still a touchdown to the other guy. It's like if it's a pick six or it end up being a field goal, I get it, but they're competitive, man. That's just how it's how it's gonna be. But let's get the Falcons Monday Night Football. Let's get the Monday Night Football out of the way real quick, okay?
Yep.
Falcons Raiders. Falcons. That's what we have to say about that. Falcons.
If they don't win, I don't want to hear anything about Kirk Chains ever again.
Okay.
If he doesn't throw a singular touchdown, then we won't ever talk.
Time
to
for
him
Michael
again.
Penis.
Yep. Junior.
Yeah, Michael Penis is junior.
Yeah.
And then the Vikings Bears. I mean, that's 38-12, like I said. So
yep, I'm done. I'm done. I tried to.
You guys are killing me.
I tried to side with them, last 2 weeks, and
You guys
thought
killed me
Brock-
last week.
I thought Brock Purdy was out again. That's why I went Bears. I was like, you know what? They do have a good defense.
Yeah.
I thought Brock Purdy was out still.
Oh, that
So-
Brandon Allen or where the hell was in.
Yeah. So I was like, that gives him a chance. I didn't know that Brock Purdy was
And
playing.
we'll go right up to Sunday Night Football, which I'm not upset with this. I guess I didn't. I mean, I know you didn't take it that way. I wasn't trying to knock you guys out of Sunday Night Football, but like, I guess when I see, like, I feel like maybe this is biased take. I feel like our 3 games should be Sunday night, Monday night. Like, you know what I mean? Like, they should be the prime times. You know what I mean? And
Yeah, I'm okay with being a 3 or 4 o'clock game, however, whatever time zone you're in. And this is an important game. In Seattle, Legion of Boom, falling off, 12th man, falling off. If we can't win this, then we can't win anything. And it's not a knock on the Seahawks, but it's like if we can't beat them, who are, as we saw earlier, a playoff team, then it's like we have no business being there either. And I know they're playing their ass off to get in, as we are, and even just to reconfirm to ourselves who the Packers are. It's like you've got to do this, and it's like the sooner you can break into that double-digit win column, the sooner you're like, it's like a weird like revival, and you're like, here we go. And so, I mean, the elements are there. I mean, defensively, I think we can outdo Geno Smith, and that's what it's going to come down to.
Yeah, and hopefully Jayden Reed shows up because that was really a bummer last week.
I want to shout out the freaking play calling on that.
Yeah, that was rough.
So for me, real quick, I think I said it last week. Seahawks without Kenneth Walker are a different team now. Charbonnet stepped up.
Charbonnet
but
lost me so many. I mean, I went against him in like 3 leagues.
Yeah.
And I was like, what the fuck was that?
he definitely did step up, which is, but again, it's a different playmaker you got to throw in there. So it's going to be interesting again between if Kenneth Walker can come back this week or not. So.
Obviously I'm siding with the Packers, not trying to derail and spend any more time on this. But Fancy, does I wanted to ask you this last week, and obviously you could make it. Is there like Jordan Love is the highest paid quarterback in the NFL? And we talk about how like he's probably the most undeserving in terms of showing the proof that he's worth that money, right? Like Joe Burrow has showed it, Mahomes has showed it.
Oh,
guys,
okay.
It's like
I'll be quick on that.
But I'm just asking, I guess, like, are you concerned? I guess, like,
No,
with the amount of money you paid him.
So for everyone who got paid this offseason, he's doing the best.
I feel like we need to stat check that.
Okay.
Because Tua's having a better season than him.
Is he?
Yeah.
They're not 9-4.
He missed all the games.
Jordan Love missed games too.
Okay, so is Jordan Love better than Joe Burrow?
I'm not gonna say that,
but he's got a better record. So that's what I'm saying. That's where that.
I'm just saying. All I'm saying. No, it doesn't. It doesn't default it at all. All I'm saying is, out of everyone who got paid, look at Dak, right? He fell off. We would get $1 million more than him.
No.
Okay, so that's what I'm saying is like he is
well,
doing.
My thing wasn't. I wasn't asking.
No, I'm just saying like that's
you
where I.
The question before I even ask a question. My question was like, are you concerned at all?
No.
Like I don't know how many years it is, but it's like, is there any concern of like this guy throws 4 touchdowns but 4 picks? It's like that. Like when Josh Allen was doing it, it was like every week it was like, well, he's gonna throw an interception. Well, he's gonna throw an interception, and it's like that's literally the season Jordan Love is having now. It's like
not. I mean, in the last I think 3-4 games, he's been clean.
Has he? I don't.
I think so. I think maybe 1, but it's like it's gotten better, and so that's what I'm saying. It's like, and let's go back to those picks and see how they were picked.
That's what I said about Josh Allen though too. At the time, it's like you can debate it with anything, but it's like.
And now this year, Josh Allen's cleaning it up, obviously, right? Like that's
the only reason why they're doing so good.
I still would love. I know it's a whole different topic that we could talk about in the offseason. I still would love a different interception stat. Like,
yeah,
I still like if it hits someone in the fucking chest, and then it goes to like that should be like a fumble or something, or I don't know. It should be a whole different stat, like a whole different wordage of like.
Yeah.
I just don't. It just doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, it should be like an error, like they have in baseball. It's like there's no way.
Wide receiver 2.
Like, yeah, it's awful.
That's actually a good suggestion, dude.
It's like, dude.
And then Chargers, Bucks in Los Angeles. I don't know how many times I feel like every year Matt's adding a team. I feel like he started with the Detroit Lions. Last year, I guess it was like the Rams when he added it when the Super Bowl run though, and then like this year he added the Chargers, and it's like now Matt's got 3 teams now.
Yeah, but I'm adding them. Blue. I'm adding them before the greatness. No,
I know, but I'm just saying. Like, next year you're gonna have the fucking Panthers. They're blue too.
Or the Cowboys.
Listen, if it's before it's a bandwagon team.
No. I'm not saying you're jumping on the bandwagon. I'm just saying like. You do get on it at the right time. I'm not dismissing that. I'm just saying like it's 3 teams now that have projected, their bad history and they're all blue. You know what I mean? It's like so what next year is going to be like the Panthers or something where like you like a certain guy on there or something like that and it's going to be like it's Matthew Stafford's going to go to the fucking Panthers.
We'll see. Yeah, we'll see. I'll let you know, but just make sure you understand that means they're gonna have a turnaround year.
Yeah,
they're gonna go in the right direction.
Yeah, but no, the Chargers -3, and honestly, I feel like that -3 is like seeing how some of these played out. I did expect a larger margin, but I think that's how much respect is shown for Baker, like as it's earned. But I definitely feel like the 8-5 Chargers look a lot better than the 7-6 Bucks, even though it's only a 1-win, 1-loss margin. But I think if the Bucks are healthy, I think they're easily 9-5. Like Or I guess
Healthy,
I guess 9-4
healthy.
should be.
Yeah, healthy. They could easily be 10 wins because their losses are freaking close. If they had a defense,
And throw that out there. Like, I don't know, Matt, if you have anything to back up on why you're taking the Chargers, but the Bucks. I mean, I'm probably defending it for you, Fancy, but the Bucks have beat the Lions and the Eagles.
Yep.
The only team to beat the Lions.
yeah, no,
One of the two teams to beat the Eagles. So, it's like when they were healthy, by the way, like when they were,
Yeah.
they beat both of them. So.
they can play ball.
Where did Baker?
So it's so funny. I have this picture of Baker Mayfield actually, and now it's a felony, but he beat Ohio
Hey, guys, we
State
have a lawyer.
in Ohio, and he spiked the flag, and now that's a felony now in the state of Ohio.
Yeah, they come back after him.
No, but it just tells you how soft they are in Ohio, Funzy. And not to dox him out. 1201 Forest Road.
Yeah, 1201 Street Road. Third mailbox on the right, the bright blue one.
Yeah, if anybody wants to just let your opinions be voiced. But no, Baker Mayfield, I mean, for having the kind of 50-50 career he's done so well. Like, it's like, how is he wins the people over? He's managed to keep himself a job when so many people would find themselves on a bench backing up a rookie, possibly playing half the season. And I mean, the record doesn't show it. Both Falcons games they should have won. I mean, good grief. You give it to the Falcons with a minute left. That does shout something to Kirk Cousins. It also shows a lot about their defense. That everybody can say that they just don't have, and it's like, oh my gosh. I mean, yeah, if you allow 500 yards, you still lose by what, 3? Overtime?
I think it's a field goal.
Yeah, it's like, dude, like offensively, you've got everything going. You are lacking in some areas. That does concern me, but I just hope that they can outshoot the Chargers the way the Rams outshot the Bills.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be interesting. I really do. I think like with you saying that. I mean, it could go that way. They have that line of over under kind of right smack dab in the middle of like you don't want to go. It's the weird like Matt. You talked about maybe teasing it down a little bit or whatever, but I think that's what favors the Chargers is like they can put up some points, but that defense is damn good, man. They really are. They are really really good. And the one thing that concerned me was just that Bucs defense. That's the one thing that I'm just like But Justin Herbert is questionable, so. He had that leg injury last week, so we don't know. But that makes us go right into the DK segment. Our DK segment is going to be a little bit different this week. What we're going to start doing is we're going to go and show you guys basically the results. What we're going to do is every single week we're going to post our DK lineups on TikTok. So if you guys want to keep up with this, if this is part of a segment where you skipped, congratulations, you can get through it quicker because you don't have to worry about it. But it is part of the segment that you did enjoy and you did like to see some of the guys that we really, specifically liked that week. Maybe the matchups, maybe whatever we saw. You can just go to our TikTok at Talks Within Reach, and you can see our lineups for this week. But last week, Matt, you came away with another victory. So 2 weeks in a row.
Told you.
That puts you at
stringing them together.
That puts you at 4 wins. It puts me and Fancy still at 5. So Fancy, he's catching up to us. So I don't know what
good win too.
But yeah, what did we say? Yeah, it was a great win, 173. But what did we say, Fancy? Did we say like just 2 weeks and then we'll start trying again, or did we? I forgot what we agreed on it.
Yeah. This is always like the weird part of the month for me, where I don't even. I can barely get on my app. Usually my phone's off. I haven't paid my bill. It's Christmas time.
I got you. Yeah. But Christmas is coming up, so Grandpa and Grandma I'm
trying to fill this out in a McDonald's parking lot on their crappy Wi-Fi.
It looks like it. You guys got a couple zeros and 0.8 in there.
It goes to tell you we were really trying. I mean, Fancy, for God's sake, pick Devin Singletary. So
it's the season of giving.
Yeah, it's the season of giving.
Thanks, guys.
And Lions fan loves taking. So shout out to the little D's. But to show you guys the notable ones, David Montgomery, 19. I think we talk about it every single week. If you take Montgomery or Gibbs, I feel like you were.
Gibbs was right around that same point system, but
and a fun thing, something I just remembered. Top 4 running backs, by the way. Barkley, Derrick Henry, Josh Jacobs, Jahmyr Gibbs. So 3 of our running backs in the top 4 Really,
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
it's pretty cool. But CeeDee Lamb, great game, which I thought in the shootout, not really a shootout, 47 points, I guess, but CeeDee Lamb was used heavily, and then Kyron Williams back-to-back weeks I've been very high on. But Fancy use, I mean, smoked it out of the park with Jordan Addison and Joe Burrow. Obviously, it just wasn't enough. I mean, you still had a great week. Most weeks, some weeks would win, the week with the way we've been having our
Mhm.
lineups. So Matt, I mean, you didn't have a bad position besides Evan Ingram, who just didn't get involved with Mac Jones under center there. But
Yep.
And still, I would go for a 7
you
point.
definitely will be called Sean Payton for the rest of the pod. Fancy, you missed it. He was kind of you know, he picked Braylon Allen and just said that he doesn't think that Brees Hall will make it because he's going to get injured, and then all of a sudden Brees Hall gets injured, and then
I called
he's
it.
it's like so. I don't
Well,
know how
but
far
yeah.
Detroit is from New Jersey, but some weird shit's going on where Matt can literally just get a player that's like he might be Italian. I don't know, but
Yeah.
No,
Sam
it was
Darnold,
it was more Nancy Kerrigan. It wasn't. It was a
Oh, okay.
rod to the knee.
But very impressive 173.88. That would win you some money in some leagues if you actually entered it. I don't know how Marcus's lineup ended up being, but I mean, Matt, you smacked that out of the park with Sam Darnold, almost 40 points. That might be one of the highest points for a quarterback that we've seen. And you picked a perfect week for him to match up with Justin Jefferson.
Yeah, that's I saw that, I played towards those matchups, and that's what I targeted because I really thought that was going to be a great opportunity, and it came through.
Yeah, absolutely.
For-
and then the
For a
double
backup,
Chase Brown and-
quarterback.
Who?
Just remember that. That's a backup quarterback.
Yeah. Chase Brown and Isaac Garindo obviously helped you out a bunch. And then you just had consistent numbers. And that's all you really need is a couple of big blowups and some consistent double digits.
Yep.
So like I said, if you guys do want to see our lineups this week, we are not going to go over them. We're going to try to clean up the pod and make it about an hour 10, maybe even under that if we can. But we did hit our podcast parlay, our 4-leg last week. We had the Dolphins, the Bucks, the it wasn't the Bengals, right? It was the Dolphins, Bucks,
Bengals.
Juwan
I
Jennings.
picked Bengals, right?
No, you picked the
Or I had Dolphins. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
you-
Steelers.
Steelers. So Dolphins, Steelers, Bucks, and Juwan Jennings over 40 yards. It all hits. So we are up on the season. So we're back-to-back weeks now. We both weeks hit. This week, 3-leg parlay, kept it simple. Fancy, you went with the Bengals. I went with the Broncos, and Matt, you went with the Falcons. If the Falcons can't get it done against the Raiders, like Fancy said, he doesn't want to hear Kirk Cousins or Kirk O'Chains or anything to start with a K ever again. But you gotta keep.
I like Kansas City Royals, man.
I know. I was thinking Kansas City Royals is your go-to. You wear them all the time. That's why I was like, shout out to Juan Soto. But we're gonna try to trim it up so no trivia. But we want to start pushing out more stuff on our socials. So if you guys can continue, why is he just smiling at me like that? Why is he just smiling at me?
This is my TV face.
Yeah, exactly. Let me see it again. Like, that's how he's smiling at me, man. Like, what do you want me to do? How do you want to wrap this up when he's literally just smiling?
I don't know.
Like that.
I don't tell you.
But yeah, we're gonna try to push out a lot more content on TikTok. Me and Matt might get together for a lot of people's this is their week for fantasy football. Huge decisions on stardom, sit 'em. Even if we didn't get it at this week, maybe next week too. That is a playoff championship for a lot of teams. If not 16, 17 is a lot of championships for some teams as well. So even if it's just a 1 or 2 weeks, stint that we do that, look out for the socials on that because we are going to try to get those out there. And I think going into the playoffs, we're going to have Marcus on here every week because there'll be less matchups. And I think we can dissect the games a little bit more. I think it'll be fun. But I mean, it's coming down to the wire on a lot of our stuff, man. It really is. Matt, 4 wins on the DK lineups. Me and Fancy at 5. Me and Matt at the same exact record. On the season for our picks. So it's going to be a fun time, not only to watch the playoffs, but if you guys have been watching and listening every single week, it's going to be really fun to see how it kind of all, winds down and ends up, seeing the results of it. So, but we appreciate you guys tuning in. Matt, Fancy, anything you got to say to the beautiful audience out there?
We're good.
No, I'm just glad they're here.
Yeah, same. Absolutely. We appreciate you guys. And yeah, look out on our socials. If you guys aren't following them, it's just Talks Within Reach on every single platform. And yeah, we hope to keep you guys, tuning in and continue to grow. So we'll catch you guys next week. Later.